You're listening to the Amazing Facts Daily Devotional. Today's topic, John Calvin, Timid, Mild, and Cowardly, Part 2. John Calvin's conversation with his Protestant cousin, Olivetan, wouldn't leave his mind. He became convinced of his own sins and sensed that he stood alone before the judge of the universe. All of his good works, including the ceremonies of the church, did nothing to remove sins from his life and left him utterly hopeless. Though he earnestly increased his efforts at penance, he still did not feel at peace with God. During this time, while still a student in college, he passed by the public square and witnessed a heretic being burned at the stake. Calvin studied the face of the martyr and saw peace on his countenance. How could this heretic, who rebelled against the church's teachings, exhibit calmness of spirit while he, Calvin, perfectly sought to obey the church yet lived in despair? John Calvin knew the Protestants rested their faith alone on the Word of God, so he was driven to study and find what gave them courage in the face of death. In the Holy Scriptures he discovered Jesus. The gospel message so gripped him that he knew he could never become a priest. Though he attempted to continue his studies in law, he finally abandoned this course and devoted himself to spreading the gospel. But Calvin was, to use his own words, timid, mild, and cowardly. He was naturally a quiet person who enjoyed retreating to his studies. He was not drawn to stand before people and speak, but through the influence of Christian friends, John began to teach in small villages and in homes of simple people the truths that set him free. During the turbulent years of the Reformation, Calvin found himself in difficult circumstances that led him to flee for his life. He eventually left Paris and on his way to Strasbourg made a stop in Geneva where William Farel, a fellow French reformer, convinced him to stay and work for a time. He was forced to flee for a period but eventually returned to carry on his work for nearly 30 years until he died at the age of 54. Do you know of any timid yet powerful Christians? Solomon described the righteous as bold as a lion, Proverbs 28:1. Our key Bible text today comes from Romans chapter 7 and verse 24. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? Thank you for listening to the Amazing Facts Daily Devotional.